So with the 2% times 5 is 10% because you got a 5-year cut, right? So we got Goulart to harvest one of our blocks back in about 2007, 8, and then it just kind of dropped again. So in 2012, what happened, there's a bit of a catalyst that was going on. You know, there's more than one piece to this whole puzzle that happens when you're dealing with government. A fellow by the name of Ed Tier, who worked for M&R, he came along and he says, well, you know what? I think we're going to amalgamate Temagami with Nipissing Forest. And I'm sort of saying, I think that'll be over my dead body. But anyway, so that's how passionate I was about that. So that starts that conversation. And so John Kenrick, he helped along with that conversation. He was the deputy mayor at that time with the town of Temagami. And we got ourselves a great facilitator, Jeff Barton. And I'm happy to say we got a new 10-year model for Temagami Forest, and which is now the Temagami Management Forest Corporation. And that, you know, involved, that's what started in October of 2013. And I guess it was about last year we got the announcement that it was coming through with the provincial government. But these are all the pieces of the puzzle. And so, but while we were doing that, a fellow by the name of Al Thorne, I got to meet, and he was from Tembec. And so Peter Street from, you know, Nipissing Forest, he put me together with Al Thorne. And Al says, well, you know, we're going to close up shop on the Temagami unit. Are you interested in the 8%? So he was trying to facilitate the transition for us to get another 8% on this forest. But the problem with that was it wasn't just like you could take that on, because Tembec hadn't harvested on this unit for 21 years at that time. So, and they really didn't have their foresters go in and take a look at stuff. And so, again, Jeff, he's a forester, get boots on the ground. So him and Ron McGee went out and they walked those. Well, the best thing that could have happened to that forest is we should light a match to it. And because it was so badly degraded and picked over from times before and so on. So again, you know, we said we want it, but we don't want it until the new plan comes into play, which is 2019. So M&R said, okay. So they had to figure out how they're going to get their management fees for that time period, but they figured it out. So rolling in now, we're 2019, and you know, we're still looking at the forest strategy, because that was one of the elements. It was always kind of on that iffy table whether Tembec was coming in, and it was one of our markers that we wanted to get. As well as one of our markers that we wanted to get was to have a sawmill in that strategy. And the other marker was to you know, get the youth and build some capacity, and that's part of our Daki Menan Corporation's objectives, is to really do this for our youth, and then if we benefit or we ever make a profit, it's to return back to the community to do other things as well. So that's where we're at. We're at a turning point now where, you know, we got this wonderful property in Temagami on the highway, so we've got good showing, and we have developed many partnerships. The brochure, you know, I don't have to list them all for you, and including with M&R as well, because I understand that M&R helped us out recently with some equipment purchases at the end of the year, which was nice. The other thing that we were working on as well was the resource revenue sharing agreement to get resource revenues from the forest as well, and I hear that that's on the cusp or may have just been signed. We were one of the proponents of the resource revenue sharing back as part of the pilot project, but when Miss Wynne wanted to get reelected, she wanted to get a hurried job done, so she went to a one-entity approach with Waban Tribal Council, and we got left off. So that was a big fight for a long time. So So that's how all the pieces come together so that we can have something like this as well. You know, some of the resources that we got from the pilot project with the resource revenue sharing was put towards this. We've now been harvesting our share of the Tomonami forest, which is also contributing to the Daki Menan Corporation, so we can do some reinvestments here. And one of the things that I'm most happy about is the fact that all of this work that we are doing is for our youth. The youth in our community are going to be the benefactors of the work that we're doing here. And, you know, so we can keep kind of building, keep training. They've been out, one of the other projects that kind of builds to this as well. We entered in a partnership with the Outland Youth Employment Program. And so we've been running a Junior Ranger program, First Nations Junior Ranger program at the Esker Lake Provincial Park. And many of the young fellows that you see here went there. So it takes, to build capacity, takes opportunity, and it takes a system. And so one of the things, that's the big thing. I mean, you know, when I realized, and I go back in time to 1993, I'm fading out. My biggest hope now is that our youth are going to pick up and continue to lead the way into creating opportunities for the next youth as well, because that's really what I think we, as the Daki Menan Lands and Resources Corporation, are really striving to do. And I see that in here today, I'd be remiss if I didn't introduce our other Daki Menan board members. I see Jamie Seville is here. He's the vice president. Doug McKenzie is the director. I don't see Vicki here today. Vicki Blake is our secretary treasurer. And I see that Mike Paul has joined us, and he's also a director. Am I missing anybody? No. And Jeff is our general manager. So again, welcome, and thank you all for taking so much time out of your day and week to attend this. It's really important to us, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the day. Thank you.
We landed in a good place. Many of you are aware there's an acute shortage of workers in the forestry sector right now. Robin mentioned the Ontario or the Outland Youth Employment Program. We really feel that this step and the work that the guys are doing is a really appropriate and valuable step, that people can come out of that OYAP program and have an opportunity to work with a project like ours, and maybe take the next step and either follow on to further education or to work in one of the with one of the more established companies or contractors, or stay with the project that we have. It's quite. I think it's going to be quite a useful step in that progression of helping to fill that gap. Small steps. I don't think we solve it overnight, but there's some pieces there that'll help us move forward.
Island. I'm happy to have this opportunity to speak on behalf of Daki Menan Lands and Resources. I think the best way for me to display the good that this company can do is to tell you a little bit about myself and what this company does for me. So the last time I spoke on behalf of a company, it was for the Outland Youth Employment Program in 2019. And if you would have heard me, that speech, you might have came away thinking, wow, this is a guy that has his stuff together, and you know, seems like a happy guy. You would have thought that, and that's what I thought too, but you know, soon after that, some stuff happened in my life, and I fell back into old habits and had a hard time. And then I moved in with this beautiful young woman who's now the mother of my daughter. And she, while I was wasting away, she took care of me. And then, you know, while this was going on for a couple months would go by, and there's a pregnancy test she took, and it's positive. And oh boy. So, you know, it's time for me to take care of her now, and time for me to make some money. Enter Jeff Barton and Robin Kay. I don't remember how the first few phone calls went, but what I do remember is that first day of work, I remember thinking, this is a job I can do for a while and be happy doing. And we'll fast forward 1 year later, I'm buying my daughter toys, clothes, I'm buying my girlfriend nice stuff, I'm paying for a car, and you know, a new boat, and saving money for my daughter's future with money I make working for Daki Menan Lands and Resources Corporation. So I guess what I'm trying to say is thank you to Jeff, Robin, Uncle Mike, everybody else behind this company for giving me the opportunity to make a living and provide for my family. Miigwech.
On this lodge, and it's so important that those youth, these young men here, put their hands on this space, because whatever we put in is what we get back. And you've already heard from our young person here, Thomas, when what he's already gotten back from this, and that's powerful. And you know, we're just so proud of the work of the people. That's all been a part of this process, because it's been multifaceted and multi-layered and multi-year, and it's a really good moment here to be standing in here and to understand that, you know, this is the beginning of the opportunities that are going to come from here. So with that, I say miigwech to everybody who came before us, all of you who are doing the work now, and to all of our partners, miigwech. Let's continue learning together and moving forward together in a good way.
It's wonderful to be here today, and what a great occasion. And it really does show what persistence does. And Robin, I mean, you know, you don't quit, you just keep going. And I think that's the real message here. Just not worrying about it and just keep going. Well, I guess you would worry a little bit because it wasn't easy, but don't give up. And this is a prime example of what happens. And the nice thing about it too is, when I quote different teachings, one of the ones I talk about is thinking 7 generations forward. This is a prime example. The immediate result is 1 generation forward. But in 7 generations, who knows where this will be? And it will rely on a resource that we all know, the forestry industry. One that is recyclable, it's renewable. I mean, 250,000 trees you've planted already. Imagine that. So you're cutting trees, planting new ones, and then by the time you're done those, the old ones, or the ones you planted, are up and ready to go again. So it really does become a circular economy that we can all rely on. And that's something that I think is important in the new economy. Lumber is something that is renewable. And that's something that I think we all have to remember. I know sometimes people say, oh, you're cutting down trees. Well, look what happened to the old forest when we didn't harvest it and replant it. It's going to burn anyways. We might as well make something of it and then replant it. And that's a benefit for everyone. And I think what we're looking at here is that true recyclable and renewable circular economy, where we're taking stuff out, putting it back in, and using it again. And I think it's a real foresight. So to all those who work so hard here, I want to thank you. Thank you for contributing to the green economy that we're looking at in Canada. And I think that's why FedNor and INF put the money into this place, because we saw the future. We see where it's going. And the future is, well, we heard what the future does, or what it's doing, and it's raising children, and it's providing for them, providing families who care and who can actually take care of their children, not rely on whatever to come into town. And Temagami is a prime example. We see people coming up here. They want to be in Temagami because, you know, over COVID, yeah, it was a horrible thing. But it caused people from Toronto and big centers to think about it, to say, okay, where do we want to be? We don't want to be in downtown Toronto. We can be in Northern Ontario. And what better place to be than the Temagami? So to all of you who contributed, made a difference, I think I can honestly say on behalf of the Government of Canada and Parliament of Canada, thank you for all your hard work. Miigwech, chimiigwech.